So Isaiah is arguably in the greatest shape of his life. He has hit, I think, in a 10-day span, 360 behind between 360 double East Bay on 9.8 and looked inside a 10-foot rim. Anything else you've done that's insane? You've belt squatted
Front
a 20,
squat 390,
front squat 390,
20
belt squat.
pound belt squat PR 355, power cleaned almost power clean 325, power clean 315, power clean 300 plus, basically multiple
Yeah,
times.
twice.
Yeah,
Some of the best performances you've had in that period of time. So
yeah.
that said, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what he's doing for the next 2 months. We're going to write that training specifically for this week, and then he'll progress intensity and volume as you guys have seen in the past. Probably going to story it on his YouTube, so you guys will also be able to see it there. But we're going to dive into the nitty gritty of the X's and O's. What am I actually going to program for him on those heavy hitting days? Ollies, we're going to look at some of the, you can see my thought process here, and yeah, we'll get to it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up Isaiah's training, and we use Team
And
Builder
I'm
if you guys
and
are
I'm
interested.
relatively healthy is another thing.
Yeah, which is a rarity. Come on up. Bailey's annoying me, so I got to bring her up. Come on, lay down. Okay. TransUnion. All right, there we go. So you have something written here. I'm just going to delete that, Zay, for whatever is here.
Are you
Actually,
gonna screen share?
yeah, I will. Give me 1 sec. I just want to get this cleared.
I can pause it if you want, by the way.
No. It's fine. I got it. Present. So if you guys are listening to this, I would encourage you to open it up on your. Well, I guess I'll try to explain it relatively well. That way, you guys can, start to understand my thought process. So the first thing that I like to do is go into notes, and I usually write a note out of kind of where the athlete's at and where we're going. So I know that I have roughly, what is it, in June, so 6 months. So we need a 6-month macro cycle. And I know that we have a 320 power clean. We have a 390 front squat. We have what do you think your vertical is right now? 51?
Yeah.
But we haven't tested that, but roughly. And it's okay if he hasn't actually hit these numbers, because these are what we're basing. Some of these are assumptions, but it allows us to make better training, because even if he doesn't do it on the day, that doesn't mean that his physiology isn't capable of it. So for example, like he could probably front squat 395. So if I put percentages, then he can work off of that as the new number. We're just going to leave it at 390 because I think that's pretty honest, even though it was pretty easy. These are all really high numbers as well. So generally, you don't want to make crazy assumptions, because diminishing returns set in, and it's really hard to get better when you're already really, really good. So keep that in mind as well, guys.
And 365, I would put that for the belt squat.
Here, 365 belt squat. And then the next thing that I'll typically do is I'll write out some of the injuries that they have. So right now, Isaiah, do you have any major issues that you're dealing with?
No, there's just things to be mindful of, I would say.
So PFP
Yeah, I would
and
say
deep squatting.
PFP, TFL, and that's pretty much it. Back would be one to be mindful of.
One thing I want to say as well, Dom asked me this the other day and he sent videos. If you ever see belt, if you're on our training and you see squat and it doesn't specify half squat, it is always deep. Squatting is meant to be deep in the program unless otherwise stated. So whether it says barbell deep squat or it just says back squat or front squat, it's meant to be deep. If you click on the notes or in the actual exercise, it says half, that's when you can go to parallel. Otherwise, squat as deep as you possibly can. That I think.
I would put PFP for half squatting.
Okay. I know it bothers you in the belt squat. So
Yeah.
is that at the half squat range of motion?
Yeah, at the half
Cool.
squat.
So then the next thing that I'll do is I'll typically write out some of the goals that I have for this athlete in each of those cycles. So what I'll do is I'll write month 1, we're going to focus on isometric strength. Month 2, we're going to focus on eccentric strength. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it really quiet, or do you need me to turn it up?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. Month 3, we're actually going to go all-star / volume. And we'll just stop there, even though there's 3 more months. And what I'll do here is I'll actually be able to take the focus of each of these, and then as I write out which different exercises I'll do, I'll be able to pick an emphasis. So typically I have an Oli progression, I have a squat progression, posterior chain, plyos, and I probably won't. So if you guys are listening to this, I wrote out the months, which focus will be month 1, month 2, month 3, and then I'm going to write out what the focuses are going to be for each month. So month 1, I'll write it out. Sometimes I'll just put the progression in order, and then that'll make sense of it. But we're going to look at some of the Olis here. So Isaiah's training at home. Sometimes he'll train 24-hour, but I'm basically going to write this as if he's training at home. It doesn't really matter because he has access to everything regardless. So for his Olis, we definitely want to see some pause cleans for month 1. Month 2, we'll have more of an eccentric emphasis. So I could do like a fast lower, counter movement, hang exercises, pause derivatives is what I'll do. And then for even though these aren't technically maximal, the other thing is that we can consider for the Olis is catch influence. So the catch is technically amortizing, meaning you're catching a heavy weight isometrically. And that's something that I've been thinking about more. And I want to just make a note there so that when I write the programming, I keep that in mind, that the reason I'm having him hit certain percentages is for the specific catch. And maybe I change how he catches, whether it's a split position or I have him try to drop underneath the bar a certain way. I will typically play around with, when it comes to Olis, the catch. So whether I'll tell the athlete like, hey, I want you to drop further than you usually do, and I want to let the bar hit you or stand up into the bar. If they can perform it the way that I ask, then generally what that means is they're going to get whatever specific adaptation I'm searching for. They'll actually meet that goal, which is better as we kind of move forward. So for example, for a pause derivative, I might just tell them, hey, stand there and let the bar hit you. For the eccentric emphasis, I might say stand up into the bar, because now it's going to lower you, but you're trying to push up into it. So there's some different ways that you can go about it. I don't know if I'll do that, but those are just some quick examples. And then for the squatting, we definitely want to hit some belt squats with pauses. Let me see here. Belt squat with pauses. We definitely are going to try to do max ISO work on it. Belt squats are mostly going to be what we're going to focus on, because Isaiah tends to get back pain when he squats a lot, and the belt squat allows him to basically just be all leg dominant. The downside is that Isaiah, do you feel the belt squat at the bottom, or is it just the half squat?
For PFP?
Yeah.
Just the half squat.
Okay, so we could probably do most of the ISOs in the bottom, max ISO work in the bottom.
That'll be really interesting. Never done that.
And we just load it up and just say push as hard as you can.
Yeah.
But it also has, you can do eccentric work on it too, because it has the handles, but a lot of people say it's like very scary. So making sure the safety's correct is really important on that. Posterior chain, same thing. We can do more pause emphasis or pin.
I can also do split squat stuff, by the way.
I'm actually just going to keep this as on the belt squat.
Yeah, on bar, like safety, like the safety bar split squat.
Okay. And for plows, I'm just going to put landings. So now I have kind of the general basis of which exercises I'm going to plan. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, pick some percentages, sets, reps, etc., knowing Isaiah's training age. So what we'll do is, if you guys are listening to this, the next step is I'll just keep these warm-ups in here. I can delete the general days. Sometimes I'll save these and give them to other athletes. This one might be tough to do because I always test out cycles with Isaiah first before I give them to any other athlete, or some of the other athletes that are willing to try some of the insanity that I like to program. The downside is that as Isaiah gets a little bit older, and stronger and more capable, the amenities that he needs become more specific. So it's a little bit tougher to give these cycles to other people, but sometimes it can work out, or you can make modifications. So for example, if it says belt squat, sometimes I'll go in and change it to barbell back squat or something. So what we'll do for the cleans, We're going to go clean pulls because it's the beginning of the cycle. So I still want to emphasize a lot of kind of maximal strength in pulling. I like doing that early on in cycles. I think it's more general. So we still have to follow that rule of going general to specific.
And I got away from that this last cycle.
Yeah. Last 3 sets at 5%. Power clean. I'll go 7 sets. So I give him 7 by 3. Last 3 sets, 105. That's what I'll do for the first day. Wednesday, I usually try to keep as the most specific day. So for Isaiah, oh man, this is tough. I could go for an isometric focus. I'm thinking here, Isaiah, about what I want to do. Sorry. If you have anything you want to say to the viewers, you can.
I'll beatbox for the people. I'm just playing.
We could do. I don't want to do snatch.
Why not?
No. I know what I'm gonna do. Your low back. Sometimes people's low backs get messed up. Do you think your low back would be all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna go power snatch. Let's go.
Only because I'm not. When I'm not deep back squatting, I can usually like my back becomes pretty tolerant of flexion.
3 sets with 2-second pause below the knee at 75%. So anytime you put a pause in, you can't go very heavy. So I'm just going to go 75%. Plus this is sets of 3. So that's going to be very difficult. And then for the last day, we're going to go power clean. Let's go 90%. No, we'll go 85. 90% is going to be too heavy. Let's go 8 by 3, 7 by 3. It's week 1. I don't want to go too crazy with sets. So we'll go 7 by 3. So the last ollie we're going to do is power clean with pause below the knee. Actually, yeah, let's do that. With pause below the knee. Last 3 at, let's go 80%, 85%, 80%, because this is week 1. All right, so now the ollies are done, and you can see we've obviously got a really strong emphasis on the isometrics. Mind you, these are sub-maximal isometrics, and we're focusing more on time under tension. So these will typically cause a lot of fatigue for people. A lot of people think that isos, are just for tendon health and things like that, but it also helps with amortization. Amortization is the period of time where you're storing energy after the eccentric period, going into a concentric period and a stretch shortening cycle. So it's really important to still develop that, and that's why we're kind of focusing on those different elements. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff, which is going to be those heavy hitting strength exercises. So the first one we'll do is a belt squat on the first day. And what I would like to do is we're actually going to go, let's go 6 sets of time. We're going to go 5 seconds, and it's going to be, well, actually, I have to change this. I have to warm them up a little bit. So we'll go 2 sets of 10. What do you think? 50%, Isaiah? 60%?
Yeah. Let me see what. Let me do some calculations.
Just got to do some calculations.
60%.
This guy.
219. I can do 60.
All right. So I'll click custom, prescribe load. We're actually going to go 8 sets. Oh, this won't work. So I've got to add a second one. If you guys are not watching, I'm just adding a different belt squat exercise now. So the first one he did is 2 sets of 10. Now I'm actually going to add some isometric efforts. We're going to go 5 seconds because it's going to take him a decent amount of time to get to peak forces. And the thing you need to keep in mind about isometrics is it takes an athlete, you'll get stronger at the specific range of motion that you're doing it within a couple degrees. So for Isaiah, the ideal range of motion would be his position that he's amortizing, right? That's going to be the most specific way to do it. However, if that's going to bother his PFP, then I might just go slightly below that or slightly above that. So I guess, Isaiah, this is me asking you, what do you think, like in terms of positioning, can you get to a relatively similar position?
Yeah,
Or
I'll be able
bottom?
to swing it.
You want to say like just below parallel or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do just below parallel. Oop, parallel. Nope. Parallel. There we go. Just below parallel at, we'll say 100% effort, all 6 sets. So he got a little bit of, the adaptation from the belt squats, but mostly here we're just trying to get tendon adaptation. We're trying to rev up the nervous system, and we're trying to develop amortization skills. You will still have that when you do regular squats because you have to amortize, especially if you drop fast. But this is really neural. The forces are lower than what you'll see in eccentric work, and we're still going to touch on some of the concentric stuff, and you'll see that later on in the week. That I'll do more concentric work a little bit later, so that I make sure I'm still checking that box. Even though it's an isometric focus, I don't like to get too far away from the other contraction types because you can kind of dig yourself a little bit of a hole. For the calf raise work, Isaiah, do you want to do another belt squat or do you want to do it with a safety bar? I'll just put calf raise. Let you decide.
For the calf raises?
Yeah.
I actually haven't tried them on the belt squat, but yeah, you can just put calf raise.
Why is it coming up like this? Isometric single leg calf raise. You could try it on the, let's do it on the, I'm going to have to add an exercise. Let's do belt squat, calf raise, and let's just see what happens. Squat, calf raise. So we'll add this in and let's go 3 sets of 10. And then we're going to go at, I don't know, 60%, nothing crazy. And then Isaiah, I want you to, can you do an ISO on it, you think, or no?
I should be able to. If not, I can go single leg.
I just don't want that to bother your knee. But yeah, that's the next thing I want you to do. So I have noticed that this stuff murders him if I go crazy on the concentric work. So I generally don't like to. I'm actually going to keep this at 2 sets of 10 because last time we did a cycle like this, I ruined him by trying to go a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
Isometric at 100%. And we're just going to go same thing. 5 seconds, 6 sets. You want to do single leg?
Yeah.
So I'll put each side. So now he knows. That might be, let's go 5 here. That might be too tough on you. I have done something like this in the past, but we're just kind of playing around with some different variables. And then I'm just going to keep some RDLs in there, basic RDLs. We've unloaded his back. So, this neurally is very difficult and I don't want to completely destroy him. Relatively heavy last set, 3x6. I've maybe one of the other days I'll do like a posterior chain specific exercise, but I don't want to nuke him completely. I think he's going to be very fatigued from this session because he is predominantly a type 2 fiber athlete, and just in my experience, guys, or him specifically, he'll die if I go a little bit too crazy there. So now we've done that. We are going to go front squats here. Let's keep. Well, actually, let's do the last day. So last day you'll front squat, or you can belt. Would you rather belt squat or front squat on the last day? I think I'd rather see you belt squat. And we're just going to get volume in because it is kind of early. So we'll go 5 sets of 6. And we're going to go last 2 sets at, so for a 6 rep max, you're at 85%. So we'll go 82% of 1RM last 2 sets. So we're getting close. You guys will notice that if you're 6 rep max, I think it's 85%. Yeah, because 4 is 90. Yeah, so 6 is 85%. So if you're doing a 6 rep, of an exercise, your maximum amount of weight you could do for 6 reps is 85% of your 1 rep max for that exercise. So when I program, I know that the most weight he could do for 1 set of 6 is 85%. And so what I'm going to ask him to do is to do 82% twice. So that way I'm getting a more overload, right? Because we're not quite at failure, but we're getting really, really close. And he'll have some build-up sets to get some volume in there too. And that'll be a really brutal session. That way he's not skimping out on the other contraction types. We're still addressing that. Same thing here with the belt. This last day, you guys will see there's a big emphasis just on general kind of strength, max strength. And we're gonna do that so that we don't want him to become weak still, despite the fact that we're doing isometric work. If you don't address the full range of motion, you're going to end up running into issues in other angles, knee joint angles, ankle joint angles, hip joint angles, and we don't want to see any deficit. As my mentor always says, you want to leave no stones unturned. So that's why we're doing this. Last 2 sets at 82%. And for him, I'm pushing up these percentages so high, and sometimes I almost make it borderline impossible for him. And that's on purpose. I'm trying to push to challenge him, and I won't do this for all of my athletes. We talked about it the other day, and one of the reasons we think one of the cycles that we previously wrote that we've seen work super well for guys is because they get so close to failure, and as a result, it forces them to get better. Whereas some of the other cycles, there's more room for, what would you call it, Isaiah?
Being soft.
Being soft. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. So we're just gonna go. Let's go by 10.
It makes it easier to be soft.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Do this on the belt machine. And let's go. Sometimes I'll use RPs if I don't have a specific percentage or weight I want them to hit, and I don't want them to go too crazy on the belt squat. So that'll be good. The other thing I'm going to add in, Isaiah, is actually drops. I'm just going to put them on supersetting, or you can do them after the session. Probably after the session's fine. It's up to you. But
Right.
I want you to do some
It's a double leg.
double leg depth landing. There we go. So we'll just go 1 set, 15 reps, and I would go like, I don't know, can you do 50 inches?
Yeah, I could do a crazy height, to be honest.
I just don't want you to break your feet.
I can land on something soft.
I'll just make this after the session, like when you're done.
Okay.
That way you leave with something. Sometimes my mentor, Mike, would do this where he would actually have like a very neural activity at the end.
Yeah.
And the reason why you do that is because you're kind of leaving on a high note, right? You're leaving on a note where your nervous system's like, hey, I just did something really, really intense. So now we're going to go back to Wednesday, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a front squat. You could back. It's up to you. Do you want to try to back squat, Isaiah, or do you want to just front squat?
I mean, I think I could half squat. Like I'm at a point where I can half squat right now.
Well, we're going to do the isos. So it might be better to do a split position iso on the belt squat, actually, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's cool about the belt squat is I can, because the belt has multiple positions, I can do any angle basically at an iso.
So I'll just put
It'll be way easier to set up.
I'll put split squat. Do you want me to do belt split squat?
Yeah.
Belt split squat. So I'm adding a new exercise, which sometimes I'll do for Isaiah. Let's go. I'll do this for anyone, but I want to do this first. So let's go 4 seconds each side. Actually, we'll go 5. So anytime you do each side, I'll drop volume just because the time to retention is, you're getting double that. So it's 8 seconds per set. Whereas some of the other ones where it's double leg, like if it's 6 sets of 5, you're getting 30 seconds total. But if I did this, you're getting 5 times, let's say I made it like the same thing, right? 6 sets of 5, you're doubling the time and retention because you're doing it each leg. So I'll drop this down a little bit, and we'll do 5 sets of 4. And what I'll do is say max isometric effort at specific knee joint angle. And that's actually going to be the heavy hitting specific work that we're trying to do here. But I'm going to do that after we do some sort of a warm up for his joints, because if you just go into a max effort iso, you're probably going to regret it. This should be pain free when you do your isos, your max effort isos. I think Ben calls them, there's like different names. I don't know. I call it like just kind of like I call it a max effort iso. You're pushing into a movable object. And then Isaiah, for the warm up, do you have anything you need to do for split squats?
Split squats. Split squats light.
Brilliant. Let's just go 2 by 8 each side. And we'll say at 50 to 60%. And I like using ranges for some of the percentages because it leaves some wiggle room for athletes, especially like Isaiah, who need a lot of autonomy, meaning or they have a lot of autonomy. He knows his body really well. He'll make the adjustments that he needs. The other one that I'm actually going to do here is going to be a mid-thigh isometric pull. Isaiah, have you ever done a mid-thigh isometric pull?
I don't think so though, but it's pretty.
Or isometric mid-thigh pull. The IMT. And let's go. Damn. I'm tempted to do that. Wait a second. Ooh. This is tough. Let's do that instead of power snatch.
Oh.
Please don't rupture your intestines. Use a belt. Use a belt and use straps.
All right.
And you can.
Wait, use a belt like a.
Do you have a
like
belt? Do you have a belt like for your back?
I don't think I do.
Well, that's okay, but ideally you do. So we'll just do 3-second efforts. I don't want you to explode, and just build up intensity. This would be something really good for a force plate, actually. So if you guys are listening to this, mid-thigh isometric pull or isometric mid-thigh pull is basically the exact position that you would be in during the second pull of a clean, and you just rip on the bar as fast as you can, as quick as you can, as aggressively as you can. So when I say go, Isaiah, it's going to be like push, 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 and the goal is to basically bend your bar in half permanently. That's how much effort I want you to apply.
All right.
It's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun. I think you're going to like that a lot.
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. Sounds fun.
And then let's just do some what's the machine that you do for your hamstrings? We can do machine. You can't do sliders. Never mind.
I've just been using the bell squat for that.
Okay, I'll just do machine hamstring.
Just do lying hamstring curl.
Okay, and let's go 4 sets of 5. And I'll just say work up to 2 difficult sets. I won't go crazy with that.
All right.
And we could do an ISO on this one if you wanted, Isaiah, but I don't want you to hurt yourself. You think you'll hurt yourself?
Nah, I won't.
All right, so then we'll do this. Lying hamstring curl. Are they single leg? Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll go 3 sets of 3 each leg. Max isometric pull into cable strap into strap. So I just added, for those of you guys listening, I added basically this Wednesday session is isometric mid-thigh pull, took away the snatch. Then we actually did belt split squat, and then he'll do belt split squat isometric, then lying hamstring curl, and then he'll do some isometric pull into the strap. And the reason why I'm doing all of these, again, I'm adding in I guess it's technically not isotonic, but it's just full range of motion activities, is because without a pause, without a slow, without anything, again, we don't want to leave any stones unturned. We still have to address that stuff, but you want to keep the goal. So if you try to do too many things at one time, generally nothing will improve. And so that's why the emphasis, we're doing 5 sets of the isometric work or 6 sets of the isometric work. And the last thing we need to do is some calf work. So for this one, I'm just going to keep it all concentric work. He's getting max ISO work on the other 2 days. So this will just be, some longer time under tension. And we'll just do 2 sets of this, but we'll go 12 reps, calf raise, relatively heavy. And yeah, that'll be the cycle for now. We're not going to put sprinting in there or anything like that, maybe later on, but for now, that'll achieve all the goals that we want to. And the big adaptations we want to see here are going to be increases the tendon stiffness. That's the biggest one. And we want to see his nervous system capable of producing more force faster in type 2 big motor units. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're interested in getting this level of expertise with your programming, you want something really dialed in for your goals, go THPstrength.com. We love what we do. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Peace out.
Bye.